Remember when I asked you guys if you had anybody in your lives who were one-uppers? Apparently a lot of you guys did. Well, do you have anybody in your lives who are that's so fakers? And when I say that, I mean they're the kind of people that you could show them literally anything. Could be funny, scary, sad. Could be your own birth certificate, and no matter what it is, the first thing they're gonna say is, dude, that's so fake. Again, if you do that, I absolutely hate you. I mean, you could be showing an auditorium full of people a video of, I don't know what, maybe a dog swimming backwards or something, and everybody would be dying laughing, and then the one guy would be looking around going, you don't actually believe this, do you? Like, this is so fake. I mean, it's just the most eye-rolling thing you can be around. And eventually it just gets to a point where you don't even want to show this person or tell this person anything because they're just gonna say it's fake. So again, if you're somebody who is sitting in a room full of people, or your friend is always showing you something and you're the one that likes to try to point out that it's fake, just smile or something, man. I don't know, you guys are the worst. Alright, what is up guys, and welcome back to another video. Now, I know you guys can't tell, but it is actually Sunday night, like last Sunday night. August 15th Sunday night, to be exact. The reason I'm doing this is because I have to pre-record it, because when you guys see this video, I'll be in Texas. But as far as that goes, we're not gonna act like this is Sunday anymore. I'm gonna refer to everything as today. Because like I said, if I wouldn't have said this, you guys would have no idea anyway. So anyway, as far as today's video is gonna go, I'm going to finally be giving you guys my top 10 running backs of all time. This is a much requested video. I do plan on doing my top 10 tight ends of all time eventually, but I feel like this was a little bit more requested than that one was. So without further ado, let's get into it right after you guys head over to gfuel.com and use code WyattzWorld to save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products. Okay, so quick disclaimers like I always do in my videos, especially in my top 10 videos. Guys, I wasn't watching football in the 40s and 50s before color TV was a thing. I didn't watch Jim Brown. I didn't watch those kind of guys. So they're not going to be on this list. I know that they probably are looked at as the all-time greats. And there will be some players on this list who I didn't watch either, but I mean, they're kind of, well, they have to be on this list. But not even they're as old as like the Jim Brown guys. So to anybody who might be watching this video, especially my older audience, wondering, you know, where your favorite running backs might be, well, if they're old as fuck, they're not going to be on this list. I'm sorry. So, starting off with number 10, and this list is going to start off hot, and a lot of people are going to roll their eyes, but I'm going to do it anyway. Derrick Henry. Yes, I'm serious, and I'm just going to put him here right now because he's going to end up here regardless, probably a lot higher. He is the Aaron Judge of the NFL. He is what you get if you go on NFL Madden 22 and take your running back and max him out and make him as big as you possibly can. That is Derrick Henry. He is a real life, just a cheat code. He has been in the league for 5 years, and he already has 5,860 yards and 55 touchdowns. Okay, guys, he's already going to be catching people like LaShawn McCoy and Marshawn Lynch in terms of touchdowns after this year. He won't quite catch Marshawn, but he will catch Shady. He should if he doesn't get hurt. And in terms of yardage, he's going to be passing up 10,000 yards in fucking, what, 4 seasons? Because there's 17 games now. And he still won't even have been in the league for 10 years when that happens, assuming, like I said, he doesn't get hurt. Might be premature to put him here, but I've just never ever seen anything quite like Derrick Henry in my life. And assuming he continues to get the role he has, because there's no way they're going to take it away from him, Derrick Henry is on the high road to the Hall of Fame at a very, very early stage in his career. I'll take him at number 10. Alright, up next on this list at number 9, we've got Marshawn Lynch. Like I said, this is my top 10. It's not going to be everybody's. My top 10. I'm 25. Marshawn Lynch is one of the most polarizing running backs of the 2010s. Not even debatable. When you think of Marshawn Lynch, you think of the 2011 to 2014 Seattle Seahawks. I don't say that because they were basically in the Super Bowl every single year, but that was when Marshawn Lynch was basically the best running back in football. For each of those 4 years, he had at least 1,200 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns. Throughout his entire career, he had 10,413 yards and 85 touchdowns. Not the most touchdowns, not the most yards, but still a considerable amount. However, throughout his career, he managed to win a Super Bowl, should have been 2, was selected as a first-team All-Proer, and made 5 Pro Bowl appearances. Now, unfortunately, after 2014, I think he retired and then went to the Raiders. Slowed way down. He was still useful, but he did slow down. Then retired again, I think, only to come back the following season in the playoffs for the Seahawks when Chris Carson got hurt. And we haven't seen him since, and I don't think we ever will. He's like 36. You guys notice how I didn't even mention him as a Buffalo Bill? Isn't that crazy? Because I don't even think of him as a Buffalo Bill. I think of him as a Seahawk like everybody else should. And when you think of Marshawn in Seattle, you're going to think of prime Seattle. And the reason Seattle was prime Seattle is because Marshawn was their running back. I will take him at number 9. All right, up next on this list at number 8, we've got Marshall Faulk. 12,279 rushing yards and exactly on the nuts 100 touchdowns. He had a shorter stint of dominance, however, he exploded for 1,000+ yards in 7 out of his 8 first seasons in the NFL. Unfortunately, after that, he never surpassed it again, but in that time, Marshall Faulk was able to acquire a Super Bowl ring, an MVP, a 3-time Offensive Player of the Year, 3 first-team All-Pro selections, 7 Pro Bowls, and of course, he has a Hall of Fame jacket. He's one of those guys that I have like little to no recollection of at all. I do versus some of the guys that are going to be on this list, but he's one of those guys that if you're reading any top 10 list ever, his name is going to be on it, or at least an honorable mention. Me being more of a modern day football fan, I'll take Marshall Faulk at number 8. All right, and number 7, we've got Frank the Tank Gore. 16,000 yards, 3rd all-time, 81 touchdowns. Okay, besides Frank Gore's 2nd year in the league where he was absolutely fantastic, like 1,700 yards, 8 touchdowns off of 5.5 yards a carry, fantastic. Like, that's unbelievably good for those wondering. Other than that, though, Frank Gore has never been the best. He's never been the most dominant, he's never been the most physical, but he's always been solid. And I'm a firm believer, I heard this once from a family member. Great players are those who play at an above average level. However, Hall of Famers are the ones who can perform at that level for the longest amount of time. Frank Gore is 38 years old. He was never supposed to make it this far. Like, he tore his ACL twice, I think, in college. Like, seriously, he was never supposed to make it far at all. But now here we are, Frank Gore, like I said, 3rd all time. 9 seasons he has had over 1,000 rushing yards. I don't think it really goes for much discussion. Frank Gore is unanimous as a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I think if anybody argues that, then you just don't have a heart. Guy has played his life out for the last 20 fucking years. Give me Frank Gore at number 7. All right, number 6 on this list is Adrian James. Criminally underrated in terms of how often I hear his name mentioned. 12,246 rushing yards for 80 touchdowns throughout his career. I mean, we're talking 2 first-team All-Pros, 4 Pro Bowls, a 1999 Rookie of the Year, led the league twice in rushing yards. He actually used to be a heavy receiving back when he first entered the league, but after like his 2nd season, it seemed like they transitioned him to more of just a primary running back, which worked out in his favor. I know he played for Indy, then Arizona, and then he played for some random-ass fucking team for like a one-off appearance. But in the heyday of this guy's career, he was rushing for 12, 13, 14, 15, 1,700 yards a season. Just a little bit unfortunate that he left the Colts, I think, 2 years early because they won a Super Bowl shortly after he went to Arizona. But he's always been one of those guys I've been intrigued by, like I said, just because of the lack of the use of his name, which is ultimately what landed him a spot on my top 10 list. Give me Adrian James at number 6. All right, number 5, I'll take LT LaDainian Tomlinson. 13,684 rushing yards for 145 touchdowns. God, we got a track record here. We got an MVP, an Offensive Player of the Year, 3 first-team All-Pros, 5 Pro Bowls, a Hall of Fame jacket. Dude, from 2001 to 2009, it sounds silly to say, he was too good for football. He was literally too good. In those years, 2001 to 2009, he never ever had under 1,100 yards or 10 touchdowns. However, 6 of those years were above 1,300 yards and 1 of them was above 1,800, where he also rushed for 28 touchdowns and averaged 113 yards a game. He was an unbelievable fucking talent who was way too goddamn loyal to the Chargers, and that's why he never got a ring. Chargers fans will love him for life. I think everybody will love him for life. Give me LT at number 5. All right, at number 4, we've got Adrian Peterson. 14,820 rushing yards for 118 touchdowns. Still playing, technically. I don't know if he's signed yet, but he says he has teams interested in him. I live in Minnesota. I got to watch firsthand this man single-handedly shove his foot up 31 other teams' asses. Without a doubt, without question, the most dominant running back I've ever seen in my fucking life. I think I talked about it recently. You can go and look at Heinz Field. I know it happened over 10 years ago, but part of William Gay's brain is still embedded into the turf. I mean, seriously, go look up Adrian Peterson trucks William Gay. Almost murder on camera. If Paul Allen said, "and he's loose," it was over. It was done. There was nobody catching Adrian. In AP's career, he has an MVP, an Offensive Player of the Year, a Rookie of the Year, 4 All-Pros, 7 Pro Bowls, and he led the league in rushing yards 3 separate times. He will always go down as one of the greatest running backs ever. But it's interesting for me to point this out, and I'm sure Minnesota fans have noticed this. We don't ever have a bad running back. We are always good. I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But, I mean, I'll take it. Same thing with receiver, too. We're never struggling in those departments, and it's awesome. All right, number 3, we're going to start to strafe into the guys that I really have never watched because they were retired before I was even born. Well, some of them were. But at number 3, we've got Walter Payton. 16,726 yards and 110 touchdowns throughout that man's career. He had 10 seasons, over 1,200 rushing yards. Like I said, I never got to watch this, but on paper, it would be pretty goddamn disrespectful if I had him any lower than number 3. Walter Payton has also won a Super Bowl, an MVP, an Offensive Player of the Year, 5 All-Pros, 9 Pro Bowls. Walter Payton was also a little bit of a receiving threat too. Throughout his career, he had 15 receiving touchdowns for 4,538 yards, which is relatively impressive, but Walter Payton even passed for 331 yards and 8 touchdowns. This man could do it all. Number 2, we got Emmitt Smith, the number 1 all-time rusher in NFL history. 18,000 fucking rushing yards this guy's got. 18,355 and 164 touchdowns to be exact. Emmitt Smith in his career as a Dallas Cowboy, fuck the Cowboys by the way. Well, he ended in Arizona, but mainly as a Cowboy. He has 3 Super Bowl rings, a Super Bowl MVP, an NFL MVP, a Rookie of the Year, 4 All-Pro selections, 8 Pro Bowl appearances, and he has led the league in rushing yards 4 fucking times. Let's not forget the fact that for 11 years straight, he had 1,000+ yards with a bundle of touchdowns as well. You know, it'd be a lot easier to support this man if he wasn't a Cowboy. But I still obviously respect Emmitt Smith. I respect him enough to have him at number 2. I just wish I would have gotten to watch him. He'll always be looked at as one of the greatest running backs ever, but he's just not number 1. And number 1, I'm sure you guys have guessed it, I even said it in a video like last week, Scary Barry. Barry Sanders to me is the Babe Ruth of football. He's the legend. Always one of those guys that I'm just going to say is the best running back ever, no matter what. I guess I shouldn't have said Babe Ruth. I should have said Ken Griffey Jr. because that's who I think the GOAT of baseball is. But as a running back, Barry Sanders, there's nobody better. 15,269 yards and 99 touchdowns through a career that only lasted 10 years. Do the math on that, and if you can't figure it out, it is a lot of yards every year. He only had 1 year out of 10 that he had under 1,300 rushing yards. He also had 1 year where he ran for over 2,000 yards. Being on the Lions, he clearly doesn't have a Super Bowl. That's impossible. But he does have an NFL MVP, 2 Offensive Player of the Years, a Rookie of the Year, 6 All-Pros, 10 Pro Bowl appearances, and a 4-time rushing leader. Over half of his career, he was selected as a first-team All-Pro, and every single year he played, he went to the Pro Bowl. He was the best running back in the league for the entire time he played. And another reason I'm going to say number 1 for Barry is because my dad said so. And my dad's like 60, 61 years old. He got to watch a lot of shit in his life. If he tells me that Barry Sanders, my dad being a diehard Minnesota Vikings fan, if he tells me that Barry Sanders is the best running back of all time, then Barry Sanders is the best running back of all time. Give me Barry at number 1 and Detroit Lions, fuck you. Alright guys, and there you have it. That was my top 10 NFL running backs of all time. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, you already know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, turn the little bell on in the corner. I try to post every single day. I don't know what day you're going to get this on. It's either going to be Thursday or Friday. I come back home Sunday. Unfortunately, I have a, well, not unfortunate. I'm happy I do. I'm excited. But I have a fantasy draft that Sunday night, meaning I won't be on Twitch, like, at all that weekend. Other than that, guys, though, you know the drill. I'm going to hop off and edit this shit so you guys can watch it on time. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and as always, I will see you in the next video.